Good day, colleagues, and today is Sunday, and we have been at this challenge now for a week. I hope you are learning something. I hope you all enjoy this exploration of large language models like ChatGPT and Bard. So, in my LinkedIn and Facebook connections and groups, I noticed there are many unemployed social workers. So, social workers who graduated and then did not yet find full-time employment, working only contracts, and I can just imagine how frustrating and demotivating that must be. And I was wondering whether AI could give us some creative ideas on a way forward. And I'm now not going to try to solve the whole issue um, of what happened and how can we address it from a South African perspective, but for my connections who have their social work degree and now are not yet employed. Let's see what can you do about this. And what we are, in other words, now doing is brainstorming. So what I'm going to do with Microsoft Bing Chat is I'm going to say more creative and see, okay, let's keep it at balanced and see what will happen if we ask it to assist us. So I'm going to say I am a qualified social worker in South Africa. I have a 4-year degree and registered with the is a Council for Social Service Professions. With the council, I qualified in 2015 and did not yet find permanent employment. What would you suggest I do now? And I'm going to keep it an open question to just say what should I suggest now, and I'm not going to focus on what should I do to find employment, because if you go on LinkedIn and on Google, you will find lots of articles and content about applying for jobs. Let's see if we just say what should I do now, what it then gives us. And let's see if we can keep an open mind and see, okay, so what do I do now? Okay, so it's for now focusing on finding permanent employment. So it took that as the step. Okay, so this is what Bing comes up with, is looking online, network, further your education, and consider private practice. And then it actually gives us some a link to apply for jobs, I assume. So let's see what does Bard do with this same prompt. So let's notice that Bing Chat then focused on finding employment actually, or then at least for starting a private practice. Let's see what Bard does with this. Okay, so Bart is taking another angle at this, and okay, continue applying. Then say gain experience in a relevant field. So look at a related field and see if you could find alternative. Okay, volunteering, again, education and network. Okay, so it's actually quite the same. And let's see what ChatGPT is giving us. Okay. So it again refers to networking. Update your CV and your cover letter. Apply for vacancies, internships, volunteering, further education, diversify your search. Okay. Continue developing yourself, seek guidance, and then stay positive. Okay, and then obviously one can then take any of these topics and say, okay, how do I network? What should my CV look like? Okay, so let's see if we can ask a question like, what career options um, okay, so let's ask what options are there in related fields and see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's referring to counseling, psychotherapy, mental health services, school social worker, HR, child welfare, rehab. Okay, so in other words, what this is doing is maybe when you are searching for jobs, I'm just quickly thinking of how I would use this information. Is maybe to then, instead of search using social work as my search term, to maybe use this as a search term and see what comes up in the job sites when I type that in. So instead of typing in social worker, maybe type in addiction counselor. Instead of typing in social work, type in policy analyzer or policy advocate. Or even if you are looking for organizations to work at, instead of just searching for social work organizations, then to search for advocacy, NPAs who do advocacy in South Africa. Research and evaluation can be a term. Okay, and then something else that I noticed here, it talk about school social work. So maybe what you can, look at these and see if there's a way that you can then reach out and find opportunities. What would happen if I would go to a school and then offer my services to the school? So it would then be private practice, but still, or as an advisor to the school, helping them solve problems, helping them to find resources, doing that kind of thing for them. Crisis intervention. What would happen if I go to the local police station and ask if they have a victim empowerment center? Or how can I assist them with trauma counseling? So these are then things that one can explore a bit further. So this is what chat comes up with. Let's see what does Bard come up with. Okay, it's giving actually more or less the same results. Oh, and yet it's coming up with something else, grant writer. Can you then maybe learn more about grant writing? And maybe offer your services as a grant writer. So maybe an organization have social workers and they are not skilled in grant writing. If you've done a course in grant writing, and you can then offer to specifically do grant writing, research, lecturing, writing books. Okay, so it's actually coming up with some extra options. Okay, and what one might want to do here is options are there in related fields for somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience. So let's see this. It was in related fields for a social worker with no or little experience. Because I'm just thinking, like, for grant writing, usually you would have had some experience, work experience in that. And that's why you can become a grant writer. Now it's coming up with other options. What do you think of these? These are actually something I think that one can. I know a couple of social workers have become teachers' assistants. So it seems that it's actually a viable option. What do you think of those? What I liked about, no, this is ChatGPT. Okay, I'm going to put this in. No, a little experience, and I'm just going to remind it that we are in South Africa. Okay, so here it's coming up with social work assistant, youth worker, community outreach worker. So here it's giving you some options to maybe not work then as a social worker, but support the appointed social workers in their roles. But in this way, you are gaining then experience. So it's actually interesting options. What do you think? I'm just wondering what would colleagues in the field think what about these options. And let's see what Bing Chat is saying about this. Okay. Stop responding and let's know little experience for the social worker. And let's remind it as we are in South Africa. Okay, so it's again giving us teacher assistant. Like I say, I know a couple. So it's still using the dollar sign. So it seems that it's not really making it very local. But I think you as a social worker can still, look at these options and still explore it. Okay. And then Bing Chat also now suggested this. Oh, and there's another option. You may maybe want to click on that. And then let's click off what skills does social workers need. And then you may want to then have a look at these skills. And because I noticed that on LinkedIn, social workers are not putting in their skills. They are very vague with the skills. And maybe these are then skills that you have to look at. Do I have these skills? Can I put it in? And which skills do I have to work on? And then maybe if you see a skill that you have to work on, maybe look for opportunities where you will actually then develop these skills. Oh, go back. And then let's see. Okay. Because one of the options it said was that you have to have a look at your CV. What? Let's say this. Can you provide me with a format or structure for the CV of a social worker in South Africa. And let's see what it gives us. Okay, so it's giving us these. And let's see what Bard gives us. Okay, so it's giving the same information, but it's going a little bit. Okay. So you see how it's, oh, this is giving more information. Okay, and let's see what the ChatGPT gives us. Okay, so it's again giving us the structure. And it doesn't look exactly like Bard and Bing chats. And then it's giving you formatting tips. And then it's reminding you to customize your CV for each job application, highlighting the qualifications and experience for that is required. So a tip that I would want to then give you is try if you then have are applying for a specific job. Type in, copy the details of the job, and you would then say something. Here is the details of the job I am applying for, and then give the details. And then say, please align my CV or have my CV, customize my CV for this job application. And then type in your CV and see what it comes up with. If anybody tries this, or when anybody tries this, please let me know. What do you find? How is it working? I've seen somebody doing that, and it was interesting. Or at least, customize your cover letter to the what is the job description that is given. Would you try that? And let us know, what outcome do you have? Did you like the outcome? Were you more successful? I'm just thinking that if your CV speaks to the organization's need and it's not just I've put out 100 CVs and it looks the same, and the organization can see, but this is the same CV you've been given to 100 other organizations, then they are going to choose the one that is customized or aligned with their requirements. You will, of course, have to then make sure that how it is customized is actually the truth. So if the customization then says, I have experience in child welfare. You should actually have experience in child welfare. Um, and but I think that is then why you would add your CV in, because now you would say, though I do not have experience as a social worker in child welfare, I did work as a teacher's assistant in a school for so many months or so many years. And these are the skills that I've gained or learned and that I can now apply in my role as a social worker in child welfare. So, colleagues, have a look at this. What other tips do you have on using AI to improve your CV or to find alternatives as a social worker?